papasok sa ating group stage.
And will end the game with a win.
And they win against Pacific Magna.
Call it a night, and Elvin will kill the final member as they will go to the grand final.
The dynasty is still well alive. Pacific Magna will be your 3-time champions of CFS PH Masters.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome sa first episode ng preview show, which is dito natin pag-uusapan ang mga ins and outs, of course, ng Crossfire Philippines. Makikita natin ngayon yung mga upcoming tournaments, yung mga upcoming teams, and syempre, yung mga insights as well ng ating mga panels together with ating mga special guests na ipapalabas within sa mga few weeks na pupunta nga natin ngayon. Pero yun na nga, no, today is a very, very special day dahil balita ako, iimbitahan natin ang isa sa pinakakanilang coach ng Crossfire Philippines and syempre, coach din ng EVOS, and apparently makakasama natin yung tatlong special guests natin today, which is makikita rin natin at maririnig yung mga insights nila sa mga susunod na tournaments at lalong-lalo na dito ngayon sa nangyayari na Impact, of course. Pero yun na nga, no, without further ado, oras na para ipakilala yung ating mga panelists today kasi balita ako, handang-handa na rin sila. So we have Salvatore, we have Mochii, and together with me, syempre, nandito rin si Sneaky. Mga kaibigan, mga ka-CF, boss, dapat ganito, yung ganito, yung ganon. Yung ganon yung gawin natin. Pero yun na nga, no, simulan natin kay Mochii. Mochii Cakes Uwu, kamusta?
Hello po, napakaganda naman ang buhay natin ngayon. Isang mayabong na gabi na puno na naman ng Crossfire at maraming salamat sa mga patuloy sumusuporta. At syempre masaya din ako nakasama ko kayo ngayon.
Pero yun na nga, syempre, kitang-kita natin. Grabe, kasi ganito kasi, bago magsimula kasi yung CFS, balita ko, si Mochii daw, itim yung buhok. Sa sobrang pag-aaral ni Mochii, ito, tignan nyo, talagang namuti na. Pero yun na nga, di ba, andito si Mochii, and of course, katabi niya, Salvatore, kamusta pare?
Okay lang naman ako, Boss Vill, super nakakatawa na may mga paganto na si Crossfire Philippines para mas lalo pa umusbong yung community and as well as yung eksena talaga dito sa Pilipinas, no. So shoutout sa Crossfire Philippines diyan na nanonood ngayon. What's up? Good evening sa inyo, guys.
Ito, I really love that you pointed that out, yung tipong, of course, sa mga nakaraang years, di ba, hindi natin ito ginagawa. Pero ngayong year, syempre, ito na yung pagbabago. And of course, in terms of this content, also na talaga para pag-usapan natin, yung nangyari sa China. Sneaky! Kamusta China natin, pre?
Not gonna lie, pretty surprising, no, pare? Especially considering yung nangyari nga dito sa Uzbekistan. And ayun nga, lots of storylines na medyong napaditor, no? Galing nga dito sa Shanghai and is probably gonna mix things up dito sa preview show natin dito, Vill.
Yeah, which is later on pag-uusapan natin kung ano ba yung mga nangyari sa mga next na mga tournaments na nga yan. Pero right now, syempre, tulad na sinabi natin sa inyo kanina, meron na tayong isang guest, really, really special, and for sure, kilala nila ako sino to. So, papasok sa call. Hello? Coach Shane, nandyan ka ba? Hello, Coach Shane? Here we go! Once again, andito nga pala si Coach 02, which is siya ang coach ng EVOS. Apparently, Coach Shane, boss, kumusta?
Ayos lang. Ikaw, boyfriend.
Awa ng Diyos, no? Awa ng Diyos, pre. Kasi ito kasi, syempre, just to give you a sneak peek, not sneak peek, pero look back sa mga nangyayari, si Coach Shane kasi, kumbaga, ever since the start of computer games, is nandito na yan. Isipin mo, wala pang word na esports. Nagko-computer na kami ni Coach Shane. Pero ito, 02, of course, para panimulan muna to. Pakilala mo naman yung sarili mo, boss. Ito na to. Here we go.
I'm 02, and I'm coach for EVOS Esports.
Wow. Short and sweet. Short and sweet coming in from Coach 02. Pero yun no? I mean, sa ating mga panel, syempre, Mochii, Salvatore, sneakyfrog, and 02 Shane. I mean, of course, ito yung oras nga na pag-uusapan natin, yung mga nangyari, lalo-lalo ng CFS PH Impact, and to the upcoming tournaments, yung Masters as well, at saka yung nagdaang na ACL, apparently, yung Asian Champions League, together with the other teams from China, from Vietnam, and the Philippines as well. Lalong-lalo na, no? I mean, to the fact na ginagawa na natin to, na tulad nga sinabi ni Salvatore, he's actually really happy na meron ng ganito. Mochii, ano ba ang Crossfire Philippines? Ano ba yung ginagawa natin today?
Well, syempre dito natin malalaman or makikita yung kung yung mga teams natin pack or like ano yung history nila, di-discuss din natin sila yung mga bagong rosters and stuff, and syempre pretty sure naman maraming excited din kasi mabibigyan ng highlight yung mga tao na iniido nila dito sa larangan ng Crossfire.
Yeah, that's true. Later, pag-uusapan natin yan, which is apparently mamaya, yung plakak at saka yung palag, ayan, mamaya, just check that out. Ikaw, Salvatore, pare, to the fact na, syempre, you've been casting CF din ever since mga nakaraang years pa, no? I mean, what do you want to say about Crossfire right now? I mean, mas lalo ba sila naging solid? Mas naging malakas ba yung mga team so far?
Parang mas na-reel in na yung community ngayon kasi ito na ata yung pinaka-competitive year ng Crossfire kasi sa top 8 ng Impact pati Masters, like lahat talaga is tutok na tutok kasi nga like sobrang high profile ng mga players and sobrang high stakes din ng pwedeng ipanalo ng magiging champion ng PH Masters no? So with that, na-attract din yung mga ibang tao na talagang tumutok dun sa brand itself. So nakakatuwa naman na yung community na ever since the start na nung sinauna pa lang, nung Macta days pa, tapos Skydome, ganun, tapos ngayon High Grounds, nandun pa rin sila, nandito pa rin sila ngayon, yung mga kilala nating OGs na sumusuporta pa rin. And it's not just the OGs yung parang ngayon pa lang nakaka-discover ng gantong classic eksena ng Crossfire. Nakakatuwa naman na we built a brand wherein the community itself is the pinnacle kung bakit tayo merong PH Masters tsaka Impact. Yan.
Yes, that is true. Pero of course, I mean, dito Sneaky, I mean, syempre, you've been, pwede natin sabihin, icon na rin, of course, sa world ng Crossfire Philippines, no? I mean, if ever kino-compare mo ang Crossfire dati, siguro mga 3 years back, 2 years back sa Crossfire ngayon, ano sa tingin mo yung significant na difference nila, yung change na makikita nga natin ngayon?
Yeah, I think yung Crossfire for the past few years, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, no, kundi sa buong mundo, pare. I think it's gotten a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
Para nga to the set and then take the site, yung nakikita natin as per usual, no. Pero ngayon, meron ng daming fakes na nangyayari. There's a lot more depth pagdating sa mga strategy ng mga teams, and ayun nga, no, teams are getting a lot harder to read. Hindi lang yun nga, no, sa ibang bansa, kundi dito na rin, pare, considering na every single team is a threat. So yun nga, that's kind of my answer. Everything got a lot more complicated para sa mga teams natin, men.
Basically, nag-improve sila lahat, no? I mean, coming in, of course, sa mga amateur teams na talagang marami ng teams na talagang sobrang lakas. Kasi back then, I mean, let's keep it real. Pwede natin sabihin na Macta, Wara, I mean, yes, laging sila. Pero ngayon, ang dami na nating mga iba't ibang teams na talaga nag-represent nga ng Philippines, no? Pero I would like to ask si Shane yun, si Coach 02, sa perspective ng isang coach, Boss Shane, no? I mean, do you think ba na talagang mas mahirap ngayon comparing dati na nag-uumpisa pa lang tayo nun?
Well, I'm going to answer you like MJ. Hindi mo pwedeng compare ang era kasi iba yung ano namin dati, iba yung challenges namin dati and challenges ngayon. If you're going to ask me straight up as a player, it's going to be much more easier now. You know why? Because nasa YouTube na lahat If you want to learn something about that thing, about the strat, nasa YouTube na lahat. Before, we need to learn about that. We need to find out the hard way. We need to lose like hundreds of times before learning a certain like style of playing, strat. Kumbaga, natuto muna ng matalo muna kami ng 100 beses bago manalo. Parang ganun. So ngayon, if you want to know about a certain strat, YouTube lang. And ngayon, may coaches na. Before, we don't have coaches.
Yeah.
It's up for us to learn. It's up for us to watch replays. Ngayon, may coaches that tell you this and that. Don't do that, don't do this. This is the way that we should play during gameplay namin. Alam mo naman dati, Bill, di ba? Walang gameplay. Dati we're just going to go in and...
sinasabihan mo?
Magkasama tayo Magkasama tayo.
Sige. Pero ito kumbaga, in terms of fundamentals, in terms of form, ngayon meron na. Hindi katulad dati na kanya-kanya lang parang ganun. Kumbaga, in terms of coaching ba, na ito, in terms of players, Coach 02, ano meron sa mga players ngayon?
Well, mas mechanically gifted sila. Mas bagas sila nagsimula. Nung panahon natin noon natin kasi nagsimula tayo Nasa ano na tayo Bill, nasa 20 plus na tayo, di ba?
Oh, 20 plus to. 25 ganun.
Nagko-compete na tayo ng competition dito. Sila, ibig mo, sa UBEC, Shadow League, 40 years old.
Yeah.
Lumilipad na. Ako,
That's
nang lumipad ako, guys, 26 years old. Imagine yung gap na yun.
So, 2 years...
26.
2 years ago lang yun, 26 ka, no, pare?
2 years ago.
Pero yun no? I mean, coming in from, syempre sa perspective nyo rin, no? I mean, syempre talaga nag-grow a lot na rin talaga ang Crossfire. I mean, saan pa tayo nagsisimula dati, di ba? I mean, sa computer shops. Doon tayo nagsisimula dati. I mean, that's the first time kung saan ko nakita yung Crossfire back then sa computer shops. That is way back, what? 2013, 14, mga tipong ganun. Pagkatapos, nagkaroon na tayo ng mga sarili nating PC. So ibig sabihin nun, makakapaglaro na tayo na tayo lang. And before that, syempre, meron tayong mga tinatawag na bootcamps. Okay, bootcamps back then. Ano ba yung meron dati? Bibigyan lang kayo ng libreng PC time, then kayo na bahala dyan. Ganoon na yung mga bootcamp dati, Shane, no?
Actually, meron ng mga teams dati na nagbibigay manager lang maybe 3,000 a month. So mababa na yung mababa na dati. 3,000 a month na yun, ang bootcamp nyo sa computer shop.
Yeah.
Tama, di ba? Computer shop. So, ang computer shop dati, kung di nyo alam guys, ang tao nag-yosi. So, parang nasa loob kayo ng isang malaking
hotbox.
Galing mo sabihin yun.
Pwede yun, pare. Kung baka parang nandun na nga, no? Pero yeah, I mean, syempre, no? I mean, pwede natin sabihin na talagang nag-improve na nga to the fact na everyone is meron din silang, kaya nilang i-represent yung Philippines, which is apparently yun yung nangyari last week. Na pumunta nga tayo dito sa China and knowing na yung mga players doon, ang daming upsets na nangyari. Lalong-lalo na sa Ubek Maniac. They've defeated KZ. Sila yung top 1 seed ng China. Tapos natalo nila yun. Pero yun na nga, no, I would like to congratulate Baisha Gaming muna for a sweet, clean 3-0 clean sweep, no? Pero ito Sneaky, brother. Nung nag-usap tayo back then, ganito lang yung tanong. 3-2 or 3-0? Right? Ngayon, 3-0 yung nangyari. What do you want to say about Baisha Gaming?
Ayun nga, Baisha Gaming, I feel like they're back dito sa kanilang old form. I think alam naman dito ni Andre, no, of what peak Baisha can look like, pare, especially itong si N9 at si Xiao Xiao.
Yeah.
When it comes to yung competition, no, and the fact na it really came out of nowhere, considering na hindi naman ganun kaganda yung season ng Baisha Gaming. I mean, baka they just needed a bit of time to figure it out, pare, no? Kasi ay walang nakapigil sa kanila dito sa bracket natin.
Actually, talaga undefeated talaga kami ng kalaban nga nila Arcelia. Up next, yung Chengdu All Gamers, then yung Evolution Power Gaming. Sweep. Hindi sila nakaramdam ng kahit isang talo. So far sa nakita nga natin dito. Pero Coach Shane, no? I mean, Arcelia Esports, gusto kong tanungin to sa perspective mo. To the fact na nakalaban niyo yung Baisha Gaming. Talagang nagwala si Cetra doon, pare.
Medyo, I was so surprised about Cetra's performance kasi first time niya sa international tournament. First time niya sa stage tournament. At nag-perform siya ng map. I was so surprised. Pero anyway, the whole team actually step up for that. Kasi Baisha was really, he caught us off guard. We have games and we really thought that we can handle Black Widow. Pero they caught us off guard. May mga rotation na actually most of the natalo kami in that situation. That if you're going to look at the scores 10-1, but you need to look at the content. If you're going to look at the game, if you're going to review the game, every round is going to be clutch situation, 2v2, 1v1, 3v2, something like that. Madalas lamang pa kami ng tao. We can't just close Baisha out. Like the mga rounds we're trying to close out. So doon kami nadali nung sinasabing championship experience. Kasi may maraming champions po sa roster na yan. So doon sa map, I told my guys that wag nating tagay sa clash. Take an edge on us. If you're going to notice doon sa map 2, talagang we try to close out games. Dalawang Baisha, we're not going to give the round away kahit dalawa pa kayo. Kasi they can still touch us. Kasi ano nga sila experience-wise, championship-wise, sa lahat. That's why I'm proud of my guys. Kasi from 10-1, kasi di ba yung moral nila, yung supposedly, nakita mo naman as a caster before, pag nagpuro ang mga teams, map 2, map 3, talagang bagsak ka na. Pero
Yep.
look, my boys fight parang everything they got. They showed me na, oh, coach, kaya pa to. Kasi from time to time talaga. Since na nagawa namin itong team, talagang they're trying to improve on that. So, doon ako natuwa na this is the second time na nakita ko yung team ko na, impact tayo. Remember, the 10-0 kami. You guys know na 10-0 kami ng Ubek, and then suddenly map 5, boom. So, they can, no, I don't think na itong mga batang to, you can hold them down. You can 10-0 them, you can 10-1 them, but they will come back kicking. Like, that's what happened. Talagang yung moral nila, I'm so proud of that. And if you guys don't know, kami lang yung pumalag sa siya na
Tama.
nag-OT. So,
Tama.
with it. From 10-1 to almost na pinagpawisan si N9. I saw his face. I was looking at the big screen. Uy, get pa natin. I thought we can close that out. I promise you, pag pumasok sa part yun, we got that.
Yeah.
For
Kasi
sure.
ito,
I still believe, Bill, I still believe we get the best now.
ayun,
I still
makikita
believe
nga natin. Sige, at least sa mga susunod na tournament. So, I mean, to the fact na kami ni Sneaky nag-cast yun na 10-1, yes, yung first map, pero 10-2 talagang napag-usapan namin, that is the first team na gumanon sa bayo siya sa entirety ng tournament ngayon. Pero Mochii and Salvatore, I would like to ask you, no? I mean, yes, Ubek Maniac, the upset na nangyari. Niyanik nila ang buong China. Mochii, ano masasabi mo doon?
Crazy. Unang-una, especially when a bunch of youngsters definitely pinakita nila na worthy sila ng spot na yun, no? I feel like very, very worth the hype yung pag-top 4 nila, considering na once again, ang mga nakatapat nila doon is hindi talaga biro, especially knowing that they're like first or second, pero baguhan sila sa mga international tournaments. So, I guess doon pa lang doon natin masasabi na mataas talaga yung potential ng mga batang to, most especially being guided by their coach, no? Si Coach Tank. So, very, very congratulate and deserve ng EVOS and ng Ubek Maniac yung kanilang recognition dito sa Pilipinas na yun.
Yeah, I mean, Salvatore, I mean, yes, sobrang solid to the fact na sila Coach Shane, pumalag sila. Ubek, nagkaroon tayo dito ng talagang matinding upset kayo nangyari dito na coming in dito sa ating top 4. Siguro ba, sa tingin mo, handa na talaga tayo na lumaban kahit saan?
Sa nakita natin sa Arcilia, EVOS rather, no, and as well as Ubek Maniac, parang ang laki ng naging jump ng PH region as a whole, kung paano sila makipagsabayan talaga. Like, dati kasi ginagawa lang natin benchmark na sana ito yung maabot natin, which is Vietnam, yung Brazil. Pero like, with the results na nakita natin sa ACL, I feel like yung game style at game plans na ngayon ng mga teams, especially dito sa Pilipinas, is continuously na nag-e-evolve kasi nga yung drive and passion nandoon. So to answer the question, yes, absolutely talaga. Sa pinakita ng Ubek, not just this year sa ACL, dun pa lang sa CFS 2024 last year, dun sa laban nila sa Imperial, sa laban nila sa EP, lalong-lalo na rin dun sa Lotus kung saan sila nanalo, no? I believe Ubek Maniac is readily equipped, not just locally but internationally. Same goes for EVOS. With a bit of adjustments talaga, they really got the nice free agent this off season dun sa pagpalit nila dun sa dati nilang IGL. Yung addition ni Cetra, mas dumagdag pa yung opensa nila, which is already polished to say the least, no? So yeah, Arcilia and Ubek, like our top 2 teams na kaya mag-represent sa international, absolutely yes, no doubt.
Yeah. And to the fact na, I mean, if ever you're gonna compare all these regions, I mean, yes, for China, they have CFPL, di ba, kakatapos lang din nun this year. And for Vietnam, CFVL, kakatapos lang din nun, I mean, this year. And yung tournament na sinalihan ng top 2 teams natin, syempre, it was last year. So, kumbaga, they have this, yes, pwede natin sabihin na downtime, no? Pero in terms of performance, in terms of gameplay, parang hindi matagal yung downtime nila, boss. Parang walang ganun nangyari. And speaking ng ating mga tournaments ngayon panonoorin natin kung ano ba ang plano ni Crossfire Philippines at ng buong Crossfire Stars ngayong taon. Let's watch this.
Welcome to the 2025 Roadmap Explainer for CFS Esports in the Philippines, a landmark year dedicated to bolstering the local competitive scene. This video outlines the overall structure of the local Crossfire Esports scene in the Philippines and the path to global recognition. The path stretches to the international major tournaments planned to take place in 2025. But before that, let's give glory to the two Filipino teams, Ubek Maniac and Arcelia Esports, represented the Philippines in the CFS 2024 Grand Finals last year. Their performance during the 2024 season earned them a well-deserved slot in the upcoming ACL XCF, showcasing their prowess once again on an international stage in Shanghai, China this May. Get ready for intense action as top Crossfire teams from around the globe converge in Shanghai, China on May 16th and 17th. This prestigious tournament boasts a significant prize pool of $100,000, attracting the best talent that the region has to offer. Here are the participating regions and some confirmed teams. Representing China, we have the top 4 teams from the CFPL Season 25. It's Chengdu All Gamers, Baisha Gaming, Evolution Power Gaming, King Zero Esports. Representing Vietnam, the top 2 teams from CFPL 2025 Season 1, Team Falcons, and Next Top. Representing the Philippines, the 2 representatives of the CFS 2024 Grand Finals, Ubek Maniac and Arcelia Esports. 2024 was the inaugural year where CFS HQ launched 2 different tier tournament systems in the Philippines. Thankfully, the community response to this was positive, which allowed the system to continue for 2025. Having 2 different tier tournaments in the local scene is to aim at the increasing competitiveness of the esports scene within the community. Finding prospects, new faces, new storyline, making CFPH's own characteristic, and to foster making the CFPH esports scene one of the biggest regions in the global CF esports. Building new stories of CFPH esports that could give more interest and entertaining moments among the users, players, fans to keep the community active. Fueling the first half of the year is the CFS PH Masters 2025. A top-tier tournament featuring a $20,000 prize pool will start with the open qualifiers scheduled on April 26 and 27, where the top 5 teams will advance to the main stage of the tournament, having 3 teams, Arcelia Esports, Ubek Maniac, and Pacific Magda, who already secured the automatic slot based on their performance from the previous season. The 5 teams from the open qualifiers will be adding up into the list, unlocking it to 8 teams on the main stage. The tournament will then move on to the main stage, kicking off from an online group stage from May 24 to July 6. Having the match days scheduled on every Saturdays and Sundays, the group stage will be played under a single round-robin format with the best-of-3 series, and the top 4 performing teams from this stage will advance to the intense online playoffs, which will take place on July 12 and the 13th, following a single elimination bracket with all matches playing under the best-of-5 series. The 2 finalists emerging from the playoffs will earn a prestigious honor of representing the Philippines at EWC 2025. Additionally, the top 6 teams from the initial group stage will secure coveted spots to the regional final, where the bottom 2 teams will be heading into the play-in to compete against the top 2 teams from the summer season of PH Impact to secure the remaining 2 slots to the main stage. The summer season of CFS PH Impact 2025 will also be underway, starting off with the open qualifiers scheduled on May 10 and 11th. The top 8 teams from the open qualifiers will advance to the main stage, and that will start the group stage scheduled from May 21 to July 3, playing on every Wednesdays and Thursdays, employing a single round-robin format with the best-of-3 series, from which the top 4 teams advance to the online playoffs scheduled at July 9 and 10. The playoffs utilize a single elimination best-of-5 format, with the 2 finalists earning a spot in the play-ins of the regional finals, while the 3rd and 4th place teams secure a automatic qualification for the subsequent fall season. A prize pool of $2,500 is awarded for the summer season. The second season of 2025 will start off with the fall season open qualifiers of CFS PH Impact 2025, opening 4 slots to the main stage where the top 4 teams will be granted to join. The registration is expected to start mid-July and the match days to be held in mid-August, incorporating the 3rd and 4th place finishers from the summer season alongside the 3rd and 4th place teams from the play-in of the regional finals. This makes 8 teams secured to start the fall season of CFS PH Impact 2025, which follows the identical structure, match format, and prize pool with the summer season. The group stage is scheduled to start on September 3 to October 2, having the match days on every Wednesdays and Thursdays and the playoffs on October 8 and 9. The pinnacle of the second season is the CFS 2025 Regional Finals PH, where the best teams will clash to prove their dominance, boasting a total prize of $20,000. The tournament will feature the top 6 teams from the PH Masters and the top 2 teams from the early phase of play-ins. where the top 2 teams from the summer season of PH Impact and the bottom 2 teams from the PH Masters will challenge the last 2 remaining slots for the main stage. The play-ins will be panning out for 2 days in late August. And once the 8 teams have been confirmed to take action in the main stage, the group stage will start from September 6 to October 5, every Saturday and Sunday during this time frame. Identical structure and format with the PH Masters will be played in the main stages, where the playoffs will be scheduled on October 11 and 12. Culminating the decisive matches, ultimately only the top 2 teams earning the honor of representing the Philippines on the global stage at the CFS 2025 Grand Final. Starting this year, we're also proud to present the Ceasefire segment, a preview show that will be launching on every Fridays during the time frame of each season, so that the viewers, fans, players, and everyone else can check the discussion, updates, behind-the-scenes stories about CFS PH Esports, and there will be guests invited within the preview show so that the community can have a good time. So whether you're aiming to qualify to Masters or the play-ins, gear up for the intense competition in the regional finals. We'll see you on the battlefield.
And of course, the battlefield is ready para nga sa ating taon, no? I mean, I just wanna say, sobrang daming ganap to the fact na kakasimula pa lang ng taon. Yes, nasa medyo Q2 na tayo, pero all towards sa dulo para sa papartingan ng EWC, ang daming slots pa nga pwede natin mapasukan dito in order for us just to compete on that prestigious tournament. I mean, one thing is for sure, ang daming teams na gustong lumipad, ang daming teams na gustong maging better pagdating nga dito ngayon sa ating tournament na pinapakita. Pero on to the side naman ngayon ng ating roadmap, I mean, Mochii, what do you want to say about that?
Well, all I can say is the more the merrier, right? So, dagdag na rin dito na mas malaki yung chance na matututunan pa ng mga teams natin at makakakuha sila ng informasyon paano gumagalaw ang isa't isa, more opportunities and more pressure para mag-grow further at maging better tulad nga ng sabi mo, lalong-lalo na rin na yung posibilidad ng mga new talents natin ngayon na I believe nagpapasiklab na naman sa ating impact ngayon locally. So, doon pa lang, solve ka na.
Salvatore, ikaw, ano yung thoughts mo dun sa ginawa ni Sneaky? Ginawa ni Sneaky. Siya yung siya yung nag-VO eh. Ano gusto mo masasabi mo?
Si Sneaky pala yun. Akala ko robot ata yun.
Parang AI.
Tapos tinipe lang, tapos ayun, tapos bigla na lang nilagay sa video eh. Si Sneaky pala yun. Hindi ko nang magkamali din. Grabe, good job Sneaky ah. Ilang oras kang gising nung ginawa mo? Ayun, naririnig ko na ikaw nga talaga yun.
Oo, siya nga talaga yun. Pero for the side of Coach 02, Shane, ito I mean, brother, nakita na natin ngayon kung gaano kahaba ang season na to. Diba? Pare, sobrang haba na to. I mean, if ever you're gonna compare this to the other seasons, other years of Crossfire, it's not like this. Ibang-iba na talaga ngayon, no? Pero, as a coach, perspective ng coach, anong masasabi mo sa ganitong klaseng format?
Well, masyadong mahaba. Prepare ko sana 1 month pero okay lang naman. Mas maraming preparation yung mga teams. Pero if you're going to ask me as a player and as a coach, I prepare 1 month na long tournament lang.
Yeah.
Kasi kumbaga, kung makikita talaga sino mabilis mag-adjust, sino mabilis kunwari, tatalo, you need to adjust for your next game. You don't have like 7 weeks to watch everything So may challenge yung 1 month. Ay, dati Vill, 2 days. Remember those days? 2-3 days? 2-3 days, di ba?
Dati?
Grabe!
Elementary pa ako dun.
Ba't nyo ba kami pinagsama ni Shane?
Talipunan yan.
Daming throwback nito, pare, no? Pero of course, I mean, pagdating nga dito ngayon sa tournament na to, I mean, at least yung sinabi nga natin, napakadaming ganap. And dun sa nangyari nga kanina, na pinag-usapan natin ng Baisha, they will advance para sa darating na EWC, of course. That will happen sa last week sa August to ng EWC. So if ever gusto na pumunta doon, have your tickets ready. And if ever nakapasok nga doon yung PH teams, that's gonna be a banger for us for sure. Na at least, diba, isipin mo, PH team to Esports World Cup, that is huge news nga para sa darating nga natin ngayon. Pero of course, tapos na yung ating format, tapos na yung ating mga nakaraang tournaments ngayon. Pag-usapan naman natin yung current, which is ang CFS Impact Summer, which is apparently ongoing na to. Tapos na yung first week nga natin natin. At pagpunta naman dito sa week 2, we're gonna get to see kung ano ba yung makikita nga natin ngayon. Pero right now, panoorin muna natin kung ano ba yung meron dun sa week 1 ng Impact Summer 2025. Alright, on today's recap, guys. I mean, syempre, mga nag-cast dito. Sneaky, ano masasabi mo dito, brother?
Honestly, so far, sa nakikita ko from the expected teams na would do well, are definitely doing well. Granted, yung XPT, no, they actually didn't do too bad against itong Rhea 7. Obviously, not a surprise na maganda naman yung performance dito ng Mattes, considering Mattes sila pare. And I think si Mochii and itong si Andre would agree with me na they could be one of the contenders, no, para ipanalo yung buong tournament natin. And this is just a preview, kumbaga pwede natin tawagin po.
Yeah. Actually, nung nag-host nga ako last time, of course, nung sa High Grounds nga, nakita ko yung Matt, Jess, and the other teams, talagang everyone is actually really promising. And to the fact na itong ganitong klaseng roadmap, everyone, wala silang gagawin kundi talaga maging better. Pero, Mochii, ito, dun sa week 1 natin, sino sa tingin mo yung talagang nagwala?
Talagang nagwala. Ako personally si Matches. Kasi doon pa lang sa talima nila, nadala nila yung kanilang performance from last year onto now pero upgraded. And just basing from that and especially siguro highlight ko na rin si Vill. I feel like sobrang tindi ng talima nila holding or heading into here, and if they can carry that over hanggang sa dulo nitong impact natin, nako, ewan ko na lang talaga.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree dun sa ginawa nga ng matches dun. I mean, yes, they have their first win already. Everyone has their first win, yung first 4 teams natin, which is ang Matches, Vengeance, Rhea 7, and Sunday Shrooms. Pero iba rin talaga yung pinakita nga dito ng Matches talaga on to these matches nga na ginagawa nga natin ngayon. Pero beside Matches, Salvatore, sino tingin mo yung talagang mas naging, kumbaga, promising pa on your end?
Shoutout kay Boss J-Bay, Sunday Shrooms. Talagang nagwala. Medyo mabagal yung pagkakaroon talaga nila ng momentum kasi they had to throw one map muna bago talaga nila ma-download ng husto si Heroics. For all the good reasons naman kasi sub-base, talagang expected na dun talaga magwawala yung Heroics. Pero the moment we entered Black Widow and Port, both yung dalawang bagong pickups ng Sunday Shrooms, Kid from Hell at si J-Kim, I feel like yung naging influence nila doon sa pagka-counterplay ng Heroics and as well as yung presensya nila sa mapa. Talagang ramdam talaga nila. Yung openings ni Kid from Hell, yung multi-fragging ni J-Kim, ang laki ng naging epekto niya sa mapa, and yung playstyle din ng Sunday Shrooms is very, very different from last year. Kung saan nandun pa sila Suna, sila Chumat, sila Cetra. Yeah. And now mas lalo silang galit Like, tinatapatan nila yung aggression ngayon ng mga Cebuano teams, and knowing na ang naging identity ng Sunday Shrooms last year is very reserved. Ngayon, tinatapatan talaga ng tulad ng mga players ni Kid from Hell na sige, irekta na lang natin lahat ng site, lumaban tayo ng lumaban kasi baril yung nagsasalita para sa atin. So Sunday Shrooms on the makings of a top 4 or possibly a top 2 spot sa Impact.
Yeah, I mean, ito Coach Shane, I mean, yes, magkaiba kayo ng group na to, nung team nyo, nitong pinapanood nga natin sa day 1 and day 2. So tingin mo, sino talaga yung mas nagkaroon talaga ng impact on you? Of course, kasi syempre pinapanood mo itong mga ibang groups din.
I'll go with SS.
Sunday Shrooms.
I'll go with SS. Sunday Shrooms, yeah. Kasi yung isang player dyan, si Zoren, si Kid from Hell, yeah, na duman sa kanya for 2 months yata. Naturuan ko ng 2 months yan. So, yung saka gusto ko yun meron silang veterano dyan, which is si Gerald.
N9.
Kung di nyo alam, from Mac na yan dati, Mac na 2, one of the really heavy firepower ng Philippines dati.
Yeah.
Yung time nila, ng mga bata sila, kaya talo nila. Hindi sila nagko-compete actually, which is very sad. Unfortunately, hindi sila nagko-compete. Pero pag nilalaban ng mga top tiers that time, like MSI, Wara, Pacific Mac na actually, yung Mac na 1, tinatalo nila sa mga laban. Kung di nyo alam, yan. Dati, Mac na 2 yan, si Gerald dati, Mac na 2 yan. Yung team niya, malakas talaga dati. So, meron silang veterano, and meron silang mga bata na may firepower. So, I'm rooting for them to win it all sa Impact. At nakaka-practice namin sila. That's why. Nakaka-practice namin sila.
Ito, Coach Shane, grabe yun. Nung sinabi mo MSI Evo GT pa yun, pare. That was way back. Ang tagal na nun, men. Pero yun nga, I mean, yes, sinasabi mo. Actually, maganda nga, I mean, we have this insights sa current sa past and sa past as well. Kumbaga, napag-iisa natin yung mga thoughts nga natin with that and kitang-kita natin yung improvement ng lahat ng mga players natin. And speaking of improvement, makikita nga natin ngayon kung sino ba yung mga naging MVP so far nung day 1 and day 2 natin for the week 1 nga ng CFS Impact Summer 2025. And for the MVPs right now, simulan natin siguro na makikita natin on screen yan yung MVPs natin. Ito, Mochii, I mean, yes, you've been casting nung last week natin, day 1, day 2. Simulan muna natin dito. From Rhea 7, ano masasabi mo dito?
Well, kay Jeff Rocks pa lang, I feel like yung nag-seal is during nung second map nila wherein doon natin nakita yung epekto ng kaya M14 and most especially yung mga lurks niya because during that time is hindi talaga malaman ng kanilang mga kalaban or for specifically kung paano nila i-handle yung mga lurks niya and most importantly having yung mga kasama niya na sinusuportahan siya especially doon sa mga hotel situations nila doon sa Ankara. Well, definitely it became like a catalyst para magkaroon at mag-carry over ng momentum itong si R7 right after yung unang map win ni XPT nung nasa compound sila na hindi nagtagal kasi nakitaan naman nga na talaga na tip off itong from the balance si XPT all due because doon sa support and overall performance na nilapag dito ng R7.
So ngayon, Salvatore, at least si Alres nagpapakita ngayon which is MVP, of course, ng last week.
Yeah. Alreds galit na galit sa Impactful, no? Kasi di sila nagkaroon ng malalim na pwesto talaga dun sa tournament na yun, no? And bilang opening at revenge tour nilang dalawa ni Azenit ngayong Impact Summer na 2025 version, no? I feel like nakita natin talaga yung leadership at veteran skills ni Alreds sa isang team na ngayon pa lang natin nakikita na umuusbong. So I feel like Vengeance right now is in a position na I think they will go deep. Pero hanggang ngayon, sobrang shallow pa rin ng nakikita natin sa kanila. Yes, they can play. They do have a solid sniper. Pero dun pa lang, parang surface level pa lang yung nakikita natin sa Vengeance. Pero somehow, buhat na buhat ni Alreds ngayon yung parang agenda and branding ng Vengeance na okay, si Alreds yung talagang titignan natin ngayon for week 2.
Yeah. Pero pagpunta naman dito, Sneaky, I mean, yes, match yes, dito si Rels, no? I mean, to the fact na ito rin talaga yung hina-highlight nga ng panel nga natin. It's all about matches. What can you say about this?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, Rels, kagaya nga ng sinabi namin ni Salvatore dito, at his peak, he was or he still is a top 2 sniper, no? Dito sa Pilipinas, pare. So, it's really no surprise na nag-perform siya ng ganun kaganda. Pero hindi ko in-expect na first game pa lang, ganun na agad yung form niya, no? So, it's glad to see Rels back in his monster form, pare. I'm actually hoping yung Mattis, no, ay maka-qualify dito sa ating play-ins kasi gusto ko talaga makita yung matchup ng MJ versus Team Secret, pare. There's something behind that, man.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's gonna be really wild for sure. Pero ito nakikita ka natin dito, Coach Shane, which is a kid from hell. Kanina pa natin siya talagang pinapoint out kung gaano rin talaga kasolid tong batan to. I mean, anong masasabi mo dito kay Kid from Hell?
Well, he's matapang. Masobra na. Pero I just wanna give a shout out to Alreds. I saw some of his shots. May sniper kasi ako dati. So natutuwa ako pag may mga sniper na gano'n. So, keep it up, Alreds. Galing yung mga ginawa niya.
Yeah. Can confirm nung bata pa lang si Coach Shane, sniper na talaga siya. Can confirm dyan, Tol. I mean, nakilala ko si Coach Shane na talagang, alam mo yung panaglaro si Coach Shane, papakita ko sa inyo. Ito yung upuan. Maghahanap yan ng malaking upuan. Tama. Tapos, yung upuan niya medyo medyo malayo sa kanya. Tapos maglalaro yung nakaganyan. Tapos malayo yung upuan niya. Nakaupo lang si Coach Shane dun sa edge ng seat. Tapos sniper yung gamit niya. Ganyan maglaro ang Coach 02 nung 20 Kopong-kopong, yan. Papakita ko na, syempre, for sure, marami pang taong hindi nakikita kang maglaro, di ba? And ngayon, ako, alam ko kasi, ganun maglaro yung isang coach Shane. Pero ito, I mean, yes, nakita natin ngayon yung mga MVPs, yung mga highlights kaya ng ating week 1, day 1 and day 2. At least, yes, matches, talaga sila talaga yung nauuna nga dito in terms of score pa lang. And together with the other winners, like Matches, Vengeance, Rhea 7, and Sunday Shrooms as well. Pero, tulad sinabi ni Salvatore, I really like na sinabi mo na parang kumbaga, makikita pa natin siguro yung talagang potential nila, lalong-lalo na if nakalaban na nila yung mga iba't ibang teams nga dito. To the fact na, ilan ba yung maximum games nila? They have a maximum 8 to, di ba? So 7, 6, 7 like that. Yun yung mga max games nga nila ngayon. So for sure, map 1, really promising what's gonna happen sa mga susunod nga na games. Pero yes, no, week 1, tapos na, pumunta naman tayo dito sa week 2 ngayon. Siyempre, on to week 2, we have 8 teams ulit. We have Acceptance, Execration, EVOS Esports, Pacific Esports, Gaon Gaming, Fervit Esports, Team Secret, and Ubek Maniac. For the first one, Mochii, it's gonna be Acceptance versus Execration. Ano yung mga pwede natin makita dito?
Well, personally kasi for Acceptance, I feel like there is this certain caliber na pwede nilang ma-reach, especially pagdating doon sa fact na it is an amalgamation of some teams. Specifically, nagpapasapasahan sila from Gaon and stuff. So, for that alone, in comparison to Execration, I feel like may mga chance na mahihirapan sila since madalas-dalas yung kanilang palipat-lipat dito. But for Execration, seems like established na sila ever since. It's all up to them paano na mapapakita yun na talagang worthy sila doon sa pag-alingaw-ngaw ng pangalan nila all throughout.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually, nakaka-pressure din to sa mga established teams. Kasi, if ever like kunyari, natalo tayo sa isang bagong team lang, no? So, kailangan talagang baguhin na natin kung ano ba yung mali nga sa atin ngayon. Pero syempre, it's still a pressure as well. And an honor for the side of Acceptance. I mean, yes, in terms of players, like what you've said, nagpapalit-palitan lang. So, in terms of experience, they have it already. At wala silang gagawin kung hindi ipakita yung experience na yun na makakalaban ng kanilang Execration. And right now, we have EVOS versus Pacific Esports. Coach Shane, team mo to. I mean, syempre, no bias pare, no bias tol. Simulan muna natin, anong masasabi mo sa mga kalaban mo which is Pacific Esports?
Pacific Mac, alam naman natin, hindi dapat natin basta-basta na parang utak shumin. Walang ganun eh. Lalo na kayo, meron silang coach na dati o rin kalaban dati. Fellow champion ko rin yan, si LGX. Kilala mo rin yan. Edad kaya yan eh. Si LGX. But anyway, we are definitely getting ready for them. Hanggang mamaya, kami about gameplay, about counter-strategy sa kanila dahil mga champions kalaban namin eh. Parang ito yung bias ng Pinas.
That's true.
So, hindi po pwede sabihin, oy, natalo sila last year, kaya natin talunin ulit yan. It's never going to be like that. Lalo na mayroon silang bata ngayon na bago, si DK? Yung bago ng
Si Jamero. Si CLD.
So, Jamero. So, I have no data about Jamero. So, blinded ako dun. So, tingnan natin kung okay yung game plan na ginawa namin against Macta. Pero definitely it's going to be a very good match. So, abangan yan, guys. Kasi hindi kayo mapoboard dito. Battle of the Titan to kahit paano. So, yung iba sinasabi, Ubek, of course, Ubek is going to be one of our opponents here. Pero for me, I'm not taking off my eyes sa Mac.
Yeah.
Because of the addiction of LGX. So that's my take.
Pupunta sila dito talaga para lumaban. I mean, for sure, this is gonna be a really hot one to the fact na dito nga si Coach Shane ngayon, no? They're more than ready to go up against. Siyempre, dito nga ang Pacific. Pero Salvatore, ang ating isang match is gonna be Gaon Gaming versus Fervit Esports. Brother, ano yung insights mo dito?
Men, nakaka-exciting tong Cebuano Derby na to, no? At parang tinadhana talaga na yung dalawang open qualifier teams is pagtapatin talaga kagad with both teams having a very significant off-season, lalo na sa Gaon Gaming. Kasi, like, yung kalahati ng core nila nawala, pumunta sa ibang team. And this is not the chance for Gaon Gaming na ilang taon na talaga silang humaharang sa open qualifiers. Ilang teams yung tinatanggalan nila ng pangarap just so that they could fall short to the top 4. So sana ito na yung taon ng Gaon Gaming para ma-redeem nila yung sarili nila bilang isang contender talaga with a very good pick up doon sa off-season like Frey, Ray, and especially Vincent galing sa Chulanga if I'm not mistaken. No? So for Fervid naman, sobrang hype nila throughout kasi nga they got a really solid coach. Shoutout sa iyo, boss Rizalde, no? And especially they have this player na talagang tatatak sa takilya ng mga Cebuano players dyan. I feel like Nomad could influence his team to greater heights. So yun pa lang yung nakikita natin for Fervid, whereas Gaon Gaming throughout the history sa kanila lahat nakatungo talaga yung mata, no? So of course medyo dehado dito ang Fervid. I really like this matchup kasi both teams sa panimula pa lang rather tinetesting na kagad nila yung kalidad nila sa isa't isa kung gaano ba kalayo yung pwede nilang abutin dito sa PH Masters, no? So all throughout the matchup kung umabot man ng game 3, I'm gonna look out for that talaga. Yeah.
Pero ito, I mean, syempre, tapos na yung ibang mga teams, pupunta naman tayo dito sa isang series na kumbaga, kung ang EVOS Esports and Pacific Esports is Battle of the Titans, for sure, Titan din tong laban na to, which is Team Secret versus Ubek Maniac. I mean, coming fresh from China, syempre, and coming fresh from Vanguard and Team Secret, sneakyfrog, this is gonna be a hot one for sure.
Yeah, for sure, pare. I mean, ito yung unang test, no, ng Team Secret, whether or not legit pa talaga yung hype around them, pare. Ang dami nagsasabi na yung roster na to is very capable of placing top 4, even top 3, no? Dito sa tournaments natin, considering the talent on the team. I mean, you have Dre, A7J, MZ, plus 2 insane players pa on the roster, no? So, in terms of on paper, maganda talaga yung ginagawa ng Team Secret dito. Plus, you have Buku who does borrow, no, some inspiration galing sa mga ibang esports about yung kanyang coaching, which is gonna be a very interesting take, no, pagdating sa Crossfire kasi nasanay ako sa CF na the coaching is very, paano ba sabihin to, surface level para sa mga ibang coaches natin. So, looking forward to seeing that. Pero feeling ko Ubek, especially itong si Kael, Kael really stepped up dito sa international play natin, pare. And I feel like pagdating dito sa 2025, he is gonna be on a different form, no? Kumpara sa nakita natin last year.
Actually, nakita natin yon nung nung kakatapos lang nung tournament na sa China, kasama natin sila Shane. Nakita natin yung mga players ng Ubek Maniac, nagpapalit-palit din sila ng mga jerseys together with the players of EVOS as well. Nagpapapicture sila kila N9 and the other pro players from Baisha. I mean, yes, pag nasa stage kayo, lalaban. Pero, iba na yung pag nakikita mo sila, di ba? That is the time na pagpa-picture kayo. Kumbaga nagpa-fanboy pa rin kayo. I mean, oo, napapatay mo sila. Oo, nanatalo mo sila. Pero syempre, andun pa rin yung feeling na talaga nagpa-fanboy pa rin na hindi nga natin, parang kumbaga, hindi natin alam kung kailan natin sa makakalaro, and that is the time for you. And that is the moment as well na ma-realize mo, okay, I am worthy to be here, being the representative of the Philippines, and with that kind of mindset, gusto mo pang maging representative. Gusto mo pang gumaling, syempre, pagdating sa mga susigan natin tournaments ngayon. Pero okay, tapos na yung ating mga match-up, of course, yung ating 4 teams ngayon. Pumunta naman tayo doon sa mga players na kailangan nating tutukan, mga players to watch out for. Kasi balita ko, ito rin yung mga players na talagang in terms of KD ratio, KDA, ito yung talagang matataas. Okay, Sneaky, Tetsu, ano masasabi mo sa kanya?
I mean, Tetsu, man, it's such an amazing brain for the game para dito sa Team Secret, para considering nagja-juggle sila ng 3 colors dito sa team nila, no? And Tetsu is kind of the guy parsing at iniisip niya ano yung best course of action para sa team na to. And not just that, it's the fact na siya pa nga yung IGL or at least main IGL ng team dito ng Team Secret, and the fact na he still snipes at a very high level really is a testament, no, kung gaano kalaki yung impact ni Tetsu dito sa Team Secret, pare.
Pagpunta naman dito kay Frey from Gone Gaming, kay Salvatore, brother, what can you say about Frey?
Solid player talaga all throughout, no. In his time during matches, no, I feel like Frey really had one heck of a spotlight talaga, no, na behind A7J pati na nga rin kay CBN. Tumatapat si Frey talaga sa mga matchups na hindi natin ine-expect na nagagawa niya talaga, no. And I feel like yung inallocate ng lakas all throughout dun sa regional finals last year, now with the open qualifier, mas lalo lang natakot din yung ibang teams na tapatan talaga yung confidence at yung duels ni Frey. So collectively, yung team na Gaon Gaming known for their lurks. Si Frey talaga yung polar opposite na puro lang talaga laban. And stats show na mas pinaprayo niya yung laban, mas gusto niya talaga ng early pickoffs. And that was the main source kung bakit siya isa sa mga top fraggers ngayon. And I'm really excited for Frey in the long run dito sa PH Masters.
Talagang MVP. Tira mo na si Frey, triple-double pare. Talagang dito pa lang kitang-kita na talagang sobrang high impact talaga yung pinapakita nga niya sa mga lahat ng gameplay na ginagawa nga nila. Pero Mochii, we have Ared. What can I say about him?
Specifically dito naman kay Ared, no, knowing na meron na siyang history with NL before back ng mga Herbie Gaming days, just by that alone, I feel like that is more than enough for them to have the support necessary at makapag-push forward sa kanilang pagtatrabaho or taking the bulk of the work, if I may say, para dito sa acceptance. I am really excited din kung anong meron pa dito sa acceptance since considering na yung rest of the players nila is medyo kulang pa tayo in terms of information. Well, seeing Ared here dito in being the MVP here from our qualifier stats, well, magandang introduction para sa atin to see.
Yeah. I mean, Coach Shane, Tetsu, Frey, Ared, sino dito para sa'yo ang kailangan talagang tutukan?
I'm gonna go with Frey. Yung praise na entry, no? Itong, kala ko kanina, no, itong average, yung buong qualifiers nila, one map lang pala to? Tama ba? This is, yung nabilib kasi ako yung Ared 2.7, pero I'm gonna go with Frey. Gaon Gaming. Hindi ko lang bakit, malapit ako sa Gaon Gaming. I don't know why, pero I really love screaming with them. For some reason, iniwasan na kami ngayon with you guys. Pero yeah, I love screaming with them. Kasi isa sa ginagawa nila, talagang all-in may pag-scream. They're not hiding anything. Pero in recent times, all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. Shout out to me. Pero just message me again. Pero yeah, I'm gonna go Frey.
So it's gonna be Frey. Yeah, it's gonna be Frey. So at least, iba, we have our insights already para sa mga panelists natin together with our guest right now, which is si Coach Shane. Pero ngayon, mga boss, ito na yung oras para makita nga natin kung para sa inyo, kung talagang merong impact yung team na ipapakita natin, which is ito na ang palag o plakak. So, madali lang to. Magpapakita tayo ng isang team. Magpapakita tayo ng isang team dito. Tapos, kayo nang bahala kung palag o plakak. Ready? Pero later, gagawin natin to dahil meron tayong interview muna na papanoorin, which is ito yung mga interview ng mga teams ka natin. Nakasali ngayon, of course, dito sa CFS. Before that, let's watch this.
Ganun nga po yung nangyari nun. Kasi nung unang beses po na nag-second place kami is for experience po. Kasi dahil po nung kabubulan po nung team namin nun. Kaya yun po yung nangyari. Yung pangalawa po is for lesson. Kaya ganun din po yung nangyari. And the third po is binigay na po namin lahat ng makakaya namin. At na-adjust na po namin yung mga mali namin nagawa. Kagaya ng pagigitamad.
Gusto ko po makaharap silang lahat. Kami naman gusto namin silang makaharap. Yang tatlong yan, mahirap yan kalabanin sa totoo lang, pero hindi natin alam, baka manalo kami sa kanila, pero yung tatlong team na yan, nirerespeto namin yan. Sila kasi yung parang mahirap kalabanin dito ngayon sa top 8.
Tingin ko lahat ng pasok sa top 8, lahat sila malakas talaga. Hindi katulad nung last time na ngayon parang feeling ko competitive na yung Crossfire ngayon dito sa atin sa Pinas. Kaya medyo mahirap pero kakayanin naman.
Yung main rival namin sa tournament na to is yung talaga yung team acceptance, kasi nung nag-scrim kami, di kami nananalo sa kanila. Tas nung CFS, medyo din, hirap din kami konti. Pero goods lang, na-counter namin yung mga play nila.
Strategies po, proper communication lang po kami. Tapos, yung pressure namin dapat di kami magpapatalo. Tapos, kalma lang po yung mga report. Dapat clear, klaro, diretso sa kung saan yung kalaban talaga. Tapos, yung mga stat namin dapat properly executed po talaga lahat.
Nung natalo kami nung SDJ nun kasi siguro mas ready lang sila. Mas pinagplanuhan nila kami. Kasi alam nila kung paano kami gumalaw eh. Tapos yung ngayon, yung bagong lineup namin ngayon, your team, siguro mas naghahanda lang kami para hindi na siguro maulit yung nangyari last year.
Knowing the three teams, Ubek, Maka, and Arc, they're really tough contenders. And pagdating sa group stage, we need to prepare a lot playing against them. As in, we need to really dig deep. Alamin lahat, gawan ng counter plays and such.
May natutunan din kami sa nung natalo kami sa China. Tas konting lang. Tas nag-adjust yung laro namin.
Napaka-wise words yung sinabi ni Loy kanina coming in from our friends from Ubek Maniac. Grabe, I felt that. Pero ito, I mean, for the side of Pacific Esports, Gunnar Pacific, talagang, ang tanong, kung maglalaro na ba si Arthur?
Mambanji, please. Mambanji.
Utang na loob, Arthur. King. Baka naman.
Bukas. Baka pwede bukas sila paglaruin. Napakalaban namin.
Paglaruin na naman si Arthur, boss. Kumbaga siya yung secret weapon no? Kumbaga, pag naglaro si Arthur, pati yung Baisha Gaming, OMG, we're done. We're doomed. Pero pagpunta nga dito, I mean, tapos na yung ating mga nakikita ngayon. On to our next segment ng ating show. Meron tayo tinatawag na icebreaker, which is palag o plakak. So, maglalabas tayo ngayon ng isang team sa harapan nyo, tapos sasabihin nyo kung palag o plakak. Mabilis lang to. Super bilis lang. Palag o plakak, then why, then G na yun. How about you, Mochii? Palag o plakak, team acceptance? At bakit?
Palag. Because you can see the potential naman with both some of these players having history with each other, back from Motomac and Herbie. So, just by that, well, palag.
Palag daw. Kay Kuya Vill, lahat to palag direct. Yan. Para sa akin, palag to lahat. Hindi naman sila mapupunta dito kung hindi talaga papalag-palag to mga tao na to. Salvatore! So, how about you?
No offense, pero ako plakak. Kasi for the recent years, NL, Ared, pati si Hek, they've been in the limelight na kaya nila maging contender, pero not enough to go deep into the tournament itself. They will have handful of wins. They will have good impressions as players. Pero history shows na team acceptance, I feel like there needs to be more layers of offense talaga para sumabay sa tulad ng execration pati ng Pacific. Not just Ubek and not just Ubek and EVOS Doon pa lang sa teams na tulad ng Pacific tsaka ng Team Secret siguro So I feel like team acceptance not disrespecting. I can definitely see the potential pero glass ceiling Ganun na lang kadali siguro yung kisame dito sa PH Masters. I just really hope they break it.
Wow. Una pa lang, hot take na. Okay, Sneaky, isang mabilis lang. Palag o plakak?
Plakak lang. Then sa akin, pre, not gonna lie, we're on the same boat. Kasama ko dito si Salvatore. I really feel like, granted, very underrated itong si Ared at si Enel coming in. Galing dito sa Herbie Gaming team. But unfortunately, this league, especially this year, is really, really good, pare. And I feel like, yun nga, it's, they might drown dito nga, sa napakagandang level ng mga teams natin ngayon, CFS PH Masters, pare.
How about you, Coach Shane? Plagag. Pinaghalo Palag o plakak?
Plakak din. Lack of tacticality.
Okay. Ayan.
Yun lang.
Wow, short and sweet. Sa mga susunod natin, ganoon na lang short and sweet tayo para makarami tayo. Okay, team acceptance, 3 plakak, 2 palag. EVOS Esports.
Ba't ako naman sa gitna? Coach lang ako Dapat nandun ako sa gilid
Let
Ano yan?
Let
Kumbaga-
Coach Shane play.
May age yan, boss.
May age ba?
Oy, magsimula tayo. Boss Shane, ikaw, matik na yun, palag no?
Palag, syempre. Palag, laging palag yan.
Oh,
Mula dati,
so-
since kinakas mo ako noong 1999, diba? Palag lagi. alam ko ikaw yung nagkas sa amin dun sa sa SM North EDSA back in 2000. Ikaw yun, alam ko eh.
Age reveal.
2000? Kino-conceptualize pala ako ng magulang ko noon, man. Okay. How about you, Sneaky? Palag-plakak.
Palag yan pare, of course. I really feel like all the hate na ni-receive dito ng EVOS was really overstated, especially considering eventual champions naman sila natalo. Yun nga, no, that map number 2 was very impressive. Galing dito sa EVOS, and yun nga, I think an additional note as well, I really feel like yung mga nagsasabi that Elvin couldn't do a great job dun sa series na yun, really doesn't know how it is like to lurk against itong Baisha Gaming. It is next to impossible, especially pag mainit dito si 577.
Yeah.
Then it's a hard time na mag-lurk dito sa mapa natin, especially pag mainit yung anchor ng Baisha. So para sa akin palag, no, I'm very impressed sa nakita ko dun sa ACL.
I mean, kumbaga yun na yung yun na yung hindi ceiling eh. Kumbaga nakita na ng EVOS Esports yung isang team na talaga sobrang malakas na makakalaban nila. And actually, not sobra. Yung pinakamalakas na makakalaban na nga nila. And to the fact na map 2 talagang pumalag sila, yung mga next na makakalaban ng EVOS Esports talagang you really need to watch out for these kids. Except for the middle, hindi kid yan. Okay. Salvatore, ikaw, palag o plakak?
Palag, no debate, no doubt talaga, no hesitation. Yung factor ni Cetra bilang sniper talaga, no. So, gaya ng sabi ko kanina, added layer of offense. So, mas nakakatakot ng pumik ngayon ang EVOS Esports, and especially, no, with their identity na puro long range, and then once we go deep into the map, pag din namin sa post plants, harap-harapan talaga sila lalaban. I feel like EVOS Esports has now anteed up the competition na sa lahat ng layers na meron dito sa Crossfire when it comes to offense. Parang ubos na ubos talaga at kaya talagang tapatan ngayon ng EVOS Esports. I'm really excited for Cetra. Nalat na sa environment na siya na pwede na siya mag-shine palalo, at especially na mas makikita ng lahat kung ano yung na-miss out last year nila nung nasa Sunday Shrooms pa si Cetra.
How about you, Mochii? Isang mabilis lang.
Siyempre palag. I mean, kahit siguro na lang, short na recall na lang din simula nung regionals nung nag-host ako, tapos parang doon ko sila first na nakita kung gaano ka-strong yung personalities nila and kung gaano sila ka-strong maglaro. It reflects, I'm pretty sure na mas malayo pang mararating ng EVOS.
Yeah, I mean, lahat palag. Coach Shane, alam ko masaya ka. Palag ako, tol.
Ayun.
Palag ako, tol. Hindi ko na nga kailangan magsabi, palag na yun.
Palag na agad.
Yun na yun. Sabi ko nga, lahat sa akin dito, palag, pare. Okay. Up next, ilan ba tayo? 5. 5 palag para sa EVOS Esports. Up next, isang mabilis lang. Kitang-kita. Uy, batang-bata, si Coach Aljon. Okay. How about you, Mochii? Mabilis lang, execration.
Execration, palag. Matik. Having Dracifer, and as well as sila A7J and the rest of the squad, matik.
Yeah.
Since minamadali tayo ni Vill, sige, palag.
Kasi 8. Kasi 8 kasi to eh.
Oo nga eh.
8 to eh.
Ay, 8.
Madami kasi to eh. 8 to pare. How about you, Salvatore? Execration.
Execration, palag, matik, Folex pa lang. Tabla, talo na kagad.
Yun nga. Ay, shoutouts nga pala kay Tita May, which is yung nanay ni Folex na talaga sobrang sumusuporta sa kanya. Yan, Tita May Pascual. Sneaky.
Yeah, palag pare. That's the easiest palag para sa akin, honestly. I'm a big fan dito ni CBN at yung rifler combo niya. Nandito nga si Folex. I think they're gonna probably dominate the league. And the fact na sinamahan pa sila ng isang bata asterisk na IGL pare. Grabe, man. I mean, this team is gonna be very exciting to see dito sa Masters, man.
Yeah, how about you, Coach Shane?
Palag, syempre, because experience and championships.
Yan, short and sweet at least. Nakita nga natin dito, we have execution already. And so far, ang may plakak lang tayo is yung first team nga natin ngayon. Pero up next team direct, sino yung makikita nga natin ngayon? Puro palag to, which is Fervid. Simulan naman tayo kay Coach Shane. Boss, sa'yo.
Sorry sa kaibigan ko, Aris, pero plakak kasi this is a new team. So, plakak siya sa akin.
Yeah.
It's a new team, so lack of experience. Although meron siya ng coach, I don't think 6 months is enough for to do everything. Kaya, new team.
Gets. Sneaky.
Man, para sa akin palag, I really feel like people haven't seen yung si Skies and si Nomad really on their full force, pare. And yun nga, granted, 6 months is a short time. Pwede natin tawagin para mag-prepare, no? Dito, Coach 02. I really feel like with the experience nga dito ni Nice Katol and the fact na he's really good at disciplining his players na, you know, somewhat doing stupid stuff dito sa mapa, may iwasan naman yung usual mistakes na nakikita natin. So, I really feel like palag, this is probably tatawagin ko yung biggest dark horse dito sa tournament natin.
Actually, nga yung tanong ko rin later on, yung mga dark horse ka natin ngayon. So, ihanda din yung mga dark horse nyo. Salvatore, how about you? For EVOS Esports, isang mabilis lang.
Sorry din, no. I'd really agree with Coach Shane, no. Plakak ako kasi there are still concerns of inconsistencies mula kay Nomad tsaka kay Ared. And with now high stakes matchup ngayon dito sa PH Masters, at kitang-kita naman na hindi pa rin siya nare-resolve kahit papaano, no. So, I really hope na maayos na yun ni Fervid ngayon. Pero for now, plakak talaga.
Mochii Cakes Ubu.
Palag. Pretty done with the potential that all of these members have. I mean, granted na rin na, of course, yes, siguro merong pagkukulang before, but everyone's is bound to change, especially for the better, lalong-lalo na if they have their hunger in them na mag-improve lalo. So, pretty same case, Nick, there might be a possibility na sila ay maging isang dark horse for our upcoming league. So, palag.
Dare I say, Ubek 2.0, pare.
Yun.
Sobrang ang dami nating hot takes ngayon. We have two teams already na may plakak, which is ang Fervid Esports together with Acceptance. Okay, next team, direct, we're gonna get to see kung ano ba yung masasabi na panel natin dito. Mochii, Gone Gaming.
Gaon, well, takes me back doon sa 7-0 nila nung sa CFS Masters 2024. But yun nga, they ended up with fourth runner of course, palag. Just by that history alone, if they would be able to carry that over, ganun din naman nga lagi. It's a matter of consistency and kung paano nila ma-ratify yung sarili nila na mag-improve further as time goes by. Palag kung palag for Gaon Gaming.
How about you, Salvatore?
Sorry Boss Gaon March, pero I'm still really doubting kung gaano ba magiging consistent si Ellison pati si Banjek, no. So plakak ako dito. There really needs to be a fix dun sa kung paano nyo ina-atake ngayon yung mga ibang teams na parang lahat ng makikita nyo sa top 4 ngayon is super laki ng level nila. And I feel like Gaon Gaming needs to work on yung macro level nila, pati kung paano nila tatangkilikin yung sarili nilang identity, which is yung sarili nilang aggression. Feeling ko yun talaga yung nag-hold back sa kanila.
Sneaky.
I'm trying to get a jersey this year, pare. So yun nga, we're gonna go palag para dito sa Gaon. I really feel like yung mga bagong addition ng it's a breath of fresh air at the same time na meron din silang may mga veterans that can actually lead the charge dito sa team. I'm just really happy na nakita nila si Banjek, pare, kasi he's one of probably my favorite players, no, galing dito sa Gaon Gaming, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Shane, ang laban nila is sa ating Day 2, Fervid Esports versus Gaon Gaming. Palag ako plakak. Palag o plakak?
Plakak, kasi lack of adaptation. They don't adapt.
Damn. Short and sweet. You know what? Gusto ko yung... Kumbaga si Coach Shane, grabe, direct to the point no? Direct to the point yan Kumbaga, ina yung Coach Shane way na talagang kinilangan na nakararaming players nga. Pero yeah, we have Gone Gaming, ilan ng plakak? We have 2 from Salvatore together with Coach Shane right now. Pero next team direct, we're gonna get to see kung ano masasabi nila ngayon. Here we go. We have Pacific Esports, LG Gaboy! Shane! Si LG, isa pang Thunders!
Thunders like boss. Ay, MSI.
Wala naman siya rito mas matanda sa akin yan. Kunwari lang. Of course, it's going to be palag. Kasi, again, experience and championships.
Yeah. And kung maglalaro ba si Arthur, yan ang tanong. How about you, Sneaky?
Yeah, I feel like palag pa rin sila going into this year. I think the amount of experience, having yung Pacific Macta era, no? For a bunch of years, pare. Feeling ko parang second nature na lang para sa kanila na yung pagiging champion, no? So, maybe they are gonna go for it again this year and probably surprise us, no? Na sasabihin nila, hindi pa kami tapos.
Yeah, how about you, Salvatore?
Palag, nandyan si Revenge, tsaka si Arthur eh. Sure win talaga, Pacific Esports top 4 yan.
Yon! Short and sweet, yun talaga hinaantay natin. Pero how about you, Mochii?
Considering yung excruciating na pagkatalo nila from regionals last year, pretty sure pala they're gonna be more than ready para makabawi muli at maghimagsik laban sa lahat ng ibang mga representatives natin for this Masters.
To be Shane, bakit?
Ito lang, gaano ang tanong na diyan, gaano kalaki ang butas na iniwan ni Aljon?
Malaki yung bush.
Parang pang CTF na topic yun.
Grabe na yun. Iba na yun, iba yun. Pero yun nga, no, lalo na on to these games, so, I mean, to the fact na LG is here already. When was the last time na nakasama natin si LG sa ganitong klaseng tournament? Sobrang tagal na, pare.
2014.
Sobrang tagal.
2019?
2014.
14. Oh my
2014, yeah, 2014.
Pare sobrang tagal namin. Pero yun nga, no, I mean, to the fact na si LG, napakadaming clips pa, napakadaming highlights, even way back, nung mga bata pa lang tayo. So, syempre, we're gonna get to see kung ano ba yung mga makikita ka natin for the side of Pacific Esports. Alright, up to the next team right now, which is, andito, ang Team Secret. Grabe naman si Buko, gitnang-gitna pa talaga. Shane, boss, TS.
Yung mga coach yan.
Shane, TS.
Oh, ako na.
Oh, boss, ikaw na to.
Sorry, pero plakak kasi new team. I know, ito kailangan ko explain eh. Kaya plakak to. Kasi, alam ko galing sa iba-ibang team to. This never works yung sa history ng esports mula dati nung naglalaro ako. Pag kumuha ka ng mga superstars galing sa iba't ibang team, ang hirap paganahin. So I'm not sure kung anong gagawin ni Buko rito, pero hopefully he can prove me wrong. Pero for me, according to my data, I experience, this is going to be a plakak. Yan.
Yan, antayin na lang natin yung comment ni Buko sa sa live stream. Hindi na pa nagko-comment kanina pa nanonood yan eh. Sneaky.
This is probably yung fastest palag ko. In all honesty, I know I do have a slight team secret na bias, no? Kasi nga my experience with the team. Pero para sa akin, I really feel like yung coaching ni Buko, especially when it comes to players that are willing to buy into the system, can really, bring these players to another level. Pare, yung inspiration nga, kagaya na sinabi ko kanina, comes from a different video game that involves, dashing. If you know, pare. So, titignan natin if it implements well dito naman sa Crossfire, pare.
Salvatore, kapatid.
Team Secret, palag absolutely, no? Feeling ko na-overlook ng teams yung kakayahan mag-play ni Aiden pati ni A7J for themselves. So, in a meta na kailangan individually sobrang skilled ka para lumaban talaga in 1v1 scenarios or even para pumick off. Nandun si A7J tsaka si Aiden in those kinds of situations. So, Team Secret, palag.
Hinahanap ko yung TS jersey ko eh. Para talagang ano ka talaga yung palag ko na dito eh. Pero ikaw, Mochii, TS.
Palag, Matic. There's two former members here from Vanguard, no? Sila Tetsu at sila Aiden. Well, I'm pretty sure having them around and with the rest of the star players here, lalo-lalo na si A7J na nagkaroon ng 300 plus something para sa isang FFA. Batak na kaagad, individually sufficient, and hopefully when it comes to as a team is makapag-perform sila ng maganda.
It's all about the performance para dito nga sa TS, knowing to the fact na, I mean, yes, tulad ng sinabi nga ni Coach Shane, ang dami din na mga pwede nga nilang i-adjust, pero for sure, they're more than ready to go up against all the teams na nandito ngayon sa Impact. And speaking of teams, shoutouts nga pala kay Vash na nag-comment ngayon. Boss, ito pa ang isang ancient sa esports mga tol, pare-pareho lang tayo dyan. Pero yun, last team, of course, kilalang-kilala natin yan, ang isang team na yumanig sa buong mundo, tinalo ang KZ. Ibang klase. Mochii Kicks Uwu. Ano masasabi mo sa Ubik Maniac?
Palag. Ayan. So, palag na palag, without a doubt, just by considering, simula na na-acquire na si Loy, every single thing fell into its corresponding place. Na swak, no? Kumbaga, para sa Ubik Maniac. Not to mention na fresh pa yung mga players natin. And just a cool, wide road ahead of them. Pretty sure they're gonna be on the top positioning para sa ating Masters.
Ito na yun, no? I mean, how about you, Salvatore Ubik Maniac? Let's go.
Took the words right out of my mouth, man. Palag, sa anim, kasama na si Dolph. Super skilled. Kano on his way to become the best player in the whole CFPH, no? Very, very excited for Ubik Maniac. And I just hope they live up to their expectations, no? Kasi considering na feeling ko may mga teams pa rin na nakikita na vulnerable pa rin sila sa mistakes. Pero sa nakita ko sa ACL, sa nakita ko sa regionals, I don't see any mistakes for Ubik Maniac. Palag all throughout.
Yeah, palag talaga. I mean, how about you, Sneaky Frog?
Yeah, I think palag para sa amin. I think napag-usapan namin ni Andre dun sa CTF kung ano man yung weakness na pwede natin tawagin dito nga sa Ubik Maniac. And obviously, sorry nga kay Kael, no, we kinda called him that nung last year dun sa podcast namin. But then this year, he showed a different side of him, pare, yung kayang magbuhat, no, against yung mga bigating teams natin, which is very nice to see. So I really feel like Ubik, this might be the year na they can definitely do something, man.
Yeah. How about you, Coach Shane, Ubik Maniac? Ito na yung pinakahuling team for tonight. Anong thoughts mo dito?
Palag, straight up palag na crazy aim. Palag kasi because of the crazy aim, man. You got crazy sick aim, yeah.
I mean, crazy about everything na nakita ka natin dito ngayon sa side ng Ubik Maniac kung saan talaga yumanig sa buong mundo. Pero yeah, we've seen already yung ating 8 teams. Some are plakak, some are really palag all throughout. Nakikita ka natin ngayon. So, makikita ka natin sila sa ating day 1, day 2 ng week 2. Once again, we have acceptance versus execration. After that, it's gonna be EVOS Esports versus Pacific Esports and Gone Gaming versus Fervid. And last but not least, we have Team Secret versus Ubik Maniac for our last series para sa ating day 2 nga ng week 2. Okay, for this, Coach 02, gusto ko lang sabihin na maraming salamat sa lahat ng insights mo about everything. Sobra namin talagang na-appreciate yung pagpunta nyo nga dito. I mean, lalong-lalo na yung straight to the point na sinasabi mo. We really appreciate that. And with this, no, I mean, naririnig ng mga teams, of course, yung mga sinasabi nyo, sinasabi natin dito ngayon sa ating podcast. And with that, pwede nilang gamitin yon na talagang kumbaga they're gonna use that para mas lumakas pa sila, motivation kumbaga sa mga upcoming days nga dito nga sa Impact, not just for Impact and sa mga susunod pang tournaments. Makikita nga natin ngayon sa mundo nga na CFS. Coach Shane, do you have any last words bago po tayo mag-proceed and bago natin kayo patulugin? Sleeping time na eh, as 11 na eh.
I just wanna give a shout out to my wife and to my daughter. And yung mga Ayo and Carla, of course. I wanna sa lima kong player. Shout out sa inyo, Kian, B-Boy Elvin, Kel, saka si Cetra. Shout out sa inyo. Siyempre, manager namin, si Alvin Arcida, at yung aming bagong org ngayon, EVOS Esports. Thank you for acquiring us. And sa mga kalaban natin, watch out because you gotta be ready pag kalaban nyo kami kasi we're gonna bring war. We're gonna bring you war. That's it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Grabe. Palakpakan naman natin, Coach Shane. Maraming salamat. Boss, thank you. Kita-kits tayo sa mga susunod yung tournaments, susunod yung mga araw kasi napakadami nyo pang lalaruin nga, of course, dito sa Impact. Thank you very much, kapatid. See you soon. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Andito tayo ngayon, tayong 4 magkakasama na ngayon, mga tol. Ito magkakaroon tayo ng isang mabilis lang ng power rankings. Kung bakit sa power rankings natin, magsasabi tayo ng isang team, tapos sabay-sabay niyong sasabihin kung ano pa sila. S, A, B, C, and D. Ready?
Ready, man.
Ready.
Here we go.
Ready?
Okay. First team natin. Wait lang, hahanapin ko yung listahan. Makikita ko yan eh. Okay, here we go. First team, ladies and gentlemen, acceptance. 3, 2, 1, go!
B.
Wow. Grabe naman yung Grabe, unanimous decision. Okay. Acceptance, B tier. Salvatore, bakit?
Yun nga, parang gana sabi ko kanina, they still have inconsistencies to fix and hindi pa rin talaga nila nasisira yung yung glass na na ceiling talaga. So I feel like acceptance needs to try and learn more things talaga na talagang pwedeng maging innovation for their own game style. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Tapos ang makakalaban naman nila. Execration. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
S.
S. How A si Mochii, how sneaky ano ka?
S.
Oh, S tier. Bakit A, Mochii?
Disclaimer lang naman, no? Bata pa ako sa Crossfire scene. Pero, ayun. Napahot si Tom bigla. Pero A, kasi I remember there was like this slump in 2024. Not sure kung anong league yun. But as long as they were able to get back, ayun, PH Masters, ayan. If they were able to get back up from that one and of course prove themselves better than before, then edi nice.
Sneaky but S.
Para sa akin, it's a really good collection ng talent. Honestly, dito sa team. I mean, having ZYK, CBN, at si Paul, no, sa isang team lang is already incredible enough. Tapos, mara-round off pa with having 2 veterans. Para sa akin, yung pinakamalaking tanong na lang talaga na execution, kung paano gagana dito si Charleston and itong si 30, maybe, whatever name he's rocking now. Pero yun nga, how they're gonna, have synergy dito sa bagong players natin, pare.
Alright. Next, Gaon Gaming. 3, 2, 1, go. B. Okay. Mamaya natin pag-usapan yung mga explanation. Okay. Gaon Gaming, B tier. Alright. Next, Fervid Esports. 3, 2, 1, go. A tier. Ang pinakaunang A tier. We have Fervid Esports. Alright. EVOS. 3, 2, 1, go.
S.
Yan. Unanimous decision. S tier. Pacific Esports. 3, 2, 1, go.
A.
S pala.
Mas marami sa A, Mochii, sayang. Dapat magkaroon tayo ng per tao, dapat may tiers ng sarili, parang no. Okay, next. Team Secret. 3, 2, 1, go.
S. A.
Oh!
S, pare. I mean, ako yung secret glazer dito, pare. Pero
pareho lang tayo.
So, wait lang. Ang AC,
si Sneaky.
Mochii. Si Sneaky.
Oo.
Tapos, yung S dalawa.
Ako ang S.
Nag-A din po ako.
Okay, so dalawang A. So, A tayo. Last but not the least, Ubek Maniac, no-brainer, S tier. Ako lang sasagot para sa inyo, pare.
Thank you, Boss Vill. Thank you so much.
Thank you, boss.
Para no-brainer to, tol. Pero ito, I mean, at least we have our S, which is Execration, EVOS, Ubek Maniac. Sa A naman, we have Fervid, Pacific, together with Team Secret. Pero B, Gaon Gaming is here. Ito ang hindi pa natin na pag-uusapan. Bakit B tier ang Gaon Gaming? Mochii.
Gaon Gaming, they've been there for quite some time, pero I feel like in terms of how they're playing right now, marami pa sila mga butas na kailangan tapalan, if I may say. Specifically in terms of consistency, kasi may mga tendency sila na halimbawa mga first week, second week, mga simula pa lang is doon sila sumasabog, sila nagpapasiklab, na sila nagpapakilala, pero for some reason as time goes by, it dies down, parang hindi na siya stonks, pabagsak na siya, so that's the best I can say.
So ito yung maganda. This is your power rankings sa darating na week 1. Week 2 sa group nila. So, check natin kung pwede ulit natin ito mapakita sa next week para pag-usapan natin kung nagbago ba yung mga isip nyo for this, no? Kumbaga, check lang natin kung talaga ganun yung mangyayari, no? Pero at least, ladies and gentlemen, ito yung ating power rankings ng ating panel. We have Mochii, we have Salvatore together with Sneaky Frog. Ito, Execration, S tier, meron tayo A tier, and B tier as well. And up next, ito rin yung isa. Kumbaga, pagdating dito sa next segment natin, ang manggagaling is sa inyo, sa mga viewers natin. So, merong kinuha sila direct na mga comments na babasahin natin kung ano rin ba yung mga thoughts nila sa lahat ng ginawa natin for today. So, syempre, unang-unang thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, sino kaya ang mapapakita? Sabi ni Peter Azura, question po sa mga panelists, who is the dark horse? Sino ang dark horse nitong Masters? Isa lang to. Okay? Ito na yung, kumbaga, ito na yung pinaka-okay na comment talaga. Yung kay Buko, hindi eh. Hindi, joke lang. Okay, Mochii, sino tingin mo ang Dark Horse ngayong Masters?
I feel like nabanggit na rin namin kanina si Fervid GT. Ayan. Matik. It's them, considering na they've got some background from Pacific Mata White and as well as some players na talagang top tier in terms of statistics pagka nakikita natin sa mga FFA. So, isa na yon. Sabi pa nga ni Sneak, baka nga Ubek Maniac 2.0. So,
yeah. I mean, at least for Masters, no? Kumbaga, sino ba talaga yung pupunta sa top for this? I mean, once again, first week pa lang to nung group nila. So, we're gonna get to see kung paano ba. Salvatore, sino ang Dark Horse for this Masters? Kumbaga, pwede natin siguro sabihin na not just for this week, pero as a whole na rin.
Okay. So, medyo magkakagulo yung sagot ko, no? Pero I feel like Team Secret, no? In a way, kasi these are band of underrated players, no? Na puro runner-up na lang yung naging pwesto nila, no? Alam ni pakiramdam ni Tetsu yan, alam ng pakiramdam ni A7J yan. And I think there is a tendency na ma-overlook talaga sila ng mga teams, no? And with a band of underrated players, feeling ko nandun yung doubt din ng mga team na aabot sila ng top 4. So I feel like Team Secret, despite the hype, no, I still feel like they're not that rated compared to Ubek and Pacific.
Wow. Grabe, no? Kumbaga sa Team Secret, S stands for Salvatore, no? Pare. Sneaky Frog, sino tingin mo ang Dark Horse ito Masters?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going back to Fervid GT. I mean, honestly, yung with yung players natin already having some experience pa din natin tawagin dito sa scene that is outside of CFS. Obviously, mga LAN player naman yun nandun sa Fervid. And yun nga, back to the experience dito ni Nomad Von, obviously, one of the best players na nagagaling nga dito sa Herbie Gaming team. And now he's found himself on an entirely new roster, a lot younger of a roster, no? So, para sa akin, Fervid GT is gonna be the one to go. Pero yun nga, shoutout kay Peter Azura, no, that he's a consistent viewer ng CF PH and ng mga streams ko rin. He has really good questions, no. He watches all the regions, pare.
Yeah, pagdating dito, no, at least we have our, kumbaga, mga insights already sa lahat na pwede mangyari nga ngayong Masters. Of course, Impact as well. With this, at least, no, kumbaga, talaga nakita nga natin kung sino yung mga rising teams, yung mga teams na sa tingin nyo is hindi naman siguro na not gonna do well, pero kumbaga comparing to others, syempre iba pa rin talaga yung kalibre ng mga teams na nasa taas talaga who have their experiences already internationally and local awards as well. Pero yeah, before natin tapusin tong show na to, actually wala sa script to eh, pero gawin natin to, tol. Prediction, wala nang explanation. Sino tingin naman nanalo? Acceptance, execration, Mochii.
execration.
Salvatore.
Execration, without a doubt.
Sneaky.
I would go exit 2, man. Parang no-brainer.
Gone Gaming, Fervid, Mochii.
Fervid.
Salvatore.
I'm going for Vid actually. Yeah, for Vid.
Oh. Sneaky.
That's no curveball, pare. Early pa naman sa season. I'm mag-go-gaon dito, pare.
Oh, Gone Gaming. At least, diba? I mean, yun na nga, diba? Sobrang early pa lang. At least we have our predictions already. Kung sino sa tingin nyo mananalo nga dito. Dito naman sa EVOS Pacific, Mochii.
EVOS.
EVOS. Salvatore, how about you?
I think I might be going Pacific for this one.
Oh, Pacific. Sneaky.
Yeah, I'm going EVOS dito sa series natin. I like Pacific, man, pero EVOS wala min eh. Grabe yung galawan nila recently.
Yeah. Mochii, Team Secret, Ubek Maniac.
Hala, sorry Buko Ubek Maniac.
Kay Buko talaga nag-sorry eh, no?
Sorry,
okay, Buko versus Tank, Salvatore.
Pero kay Coach Tanks, bite siya eh.
Oh,
bigyan ako jersey
ano
yun
man? Ano yun, bit like a tank yun eh. Pero how about you? Team Secret, Ubek Maniac?
Ubek Maniac talaga. There's just much more better survivability tsaka macro for Ubek.
Yeah. Sneaky.
Ako, pambawi lang sa paglagay nila sa A tier, pare. I'm gonna go Team Secret dito sa series natin, men.
At least pambawi nga. Ito, I mean, of course, there's the last portion nga. Actually, wala sa script yun, ladies and gents. Biglaan natin ipapakitin. And I'm gonna make that a thing. Sa mga susunod nga nating weeks, magkakaroon tayo ng predictions kung sino ba talaga yung mga pwede manalo sa mga upcoming weeks na makikita nga natin ngayon sa Masters and sa Impact, kung saan sa pan-tournaments ngayon. Mochii, before natin i-end yung show, do you have any last words?
Masabi ko lamang maraming salamat sa mga sumubaybay dito sa ating, sabihin ko sana podcast, pero parang kasing podcast dito sa ating free show, no? Para sa ating wrap-up ng unang week ng Impact and as well as ang ating week 2 na upcoming Masters. So, dun pa lang, really happy na nakasama namin kayo and hopefully, ma-follow nyo kami din sa aming mga ads. If interesado lang naman kayo, hindi namin kayo pipilitin. Pero other than that, once again, maraming salamat. Sana kumain kayo ng marami at sana masarap ang ulam nyo ngayong gabi.
How about you, Salvatore? Any last words, brother?
Thank you so much for Smilegate for this opportunity. No, thank you so much kasi nandiyan pa rin kayo and you guys continuously give us opportunities to make the community grow. Shout out to Crossfire Philippines for the numerous tournaments and as well as the community themselves. No, na talagang buhos talaga yung pagbigay nila suporta sa mga teams, not just them but for also the talents na dahil sa suporta nila ginaganahan kami gumawa ng mga content tulad nito. And yun, maraming salamat sa inyo.
How about you at Sneaky Frog Casts?
Yun nga, I think si Salvatore has probably thanked everyone that I was supposed to thank. So make sure to check out the Crossfire Times, guys. Make sure to check out the Crossfire Times and yung there's gonna be a lot of content regarding yung CF soon. No, I know it's a bit inactive right now, pero yun nga, nakabalik na ako sa Shanghai. So we're gonna pump out some content very, very soon as long as the guy next to me finally finishes yung graduation thing niya, pare.
Let's go!
Pero yun nga, gagraduate ka na, boss. At least, diba, always remember, sa mga tao na nanonood dyan, responsible gaming tayo. It's all about the priorities, pare. I mean, yes, esports, nandito lang yan, pero always finish your studies, dude. It's all about the priorities nga, syempre. Pero yun nga, no, I mean, for this first episode ng preview show coming in nga ng Crossfire Philippines, thank you very much for having me as well. Napakadaming araw pa nating pupuntahan kasi balita ko 15 days daw to Ang dami na to, pare. So yun nga, syempre, marami pa tayong pwedeng ipasok ng mga guests. So ngayon bibigyan ko ng trabaho yung comments. Sino ang gusto nyong imbitahan natin sa susunod na episode? Ayan, diba? First episode, si Coach Shane. Tagal na nun, pare. Pero, shoutouts nga pala. Tapos to, sa mga susunod na days, sino yung gusto nyong ipasok ka natin dito? Pero yun na nga, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your first episode of Preview Show, ladies and gentlemen. For the last time, your panels, ako nga pala si Vill, Mochii, Salvatore, Sneaky Frog, and syempre on behalf of Coach Shane, maraming salamat nga pala sa inyo. And yeah, kita-kits sa susunod dahil marami pa to. So yun nga, thanks for watching. See you again on to the next one.
Gaming to qualify, it is sino ang huling team na makakapasok sa ating group stage.
And will end the game with a win.
And they win against Pacific Magna.
Call it a night, and Elvin will kill the final member as they will go to the grand final.
The dynasty is still well alive. Pacific Magna will be your 3-time champions of CFS PH Masters.